Alright everybody, this is the video that explains the pretest for IOD 201. IOD 201 is a college readiness standard. IOD stands for interpretation of data. 201 is the level. It's in the 200s level and it's in the first row. Okay. The standard itself is select a single piece of data, numerical or non-numerical, from a simple data presentation. For example, a table or graph with 2 or 3 variables, a food web diagram. Okay, so that's the standard we're looking for. So we're selecting single pieces of data from simple data presentations. Okay, that's important. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do, and the first thing always to do, is to quickly scan the passage. Okay, when I quickly scan the passage, I am not looking for details. I don't really need to know what the study's about unless it strikes me as I'm scanning it, but I'm not going to read all that much about what's going on. What I am going to do is notice the larger level organization and what components are here. So for instance, here's the title, passage 1. Here's a block of text. Here's a subheading, study 1. Here's a block of text. Here's a table, table 1. There's another subheading, study 2. Here is some text. Here's a table, table 2. Here's another subheading, study 3. Here's some text, and here's a graph. Okay, so just scanning through this, I notice there's some text. Okay, and the text in between, sort of after the subheadings, and there's sort of this introductory paragraph up here. There are 2 tables with data. They are both simple tables in that they have just a couple variables here. There's trials, time, and speed. That's it. And then there's a graph, and the graph has 2 lines. Okay, those are the pieces of information that I'm getting from my scan. 3 studies. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Some text. 3 tables. Table 1, table 2. 2 tables. I'm sorry. Table 1, table 2, and a graph. Graph 1. Okay. Now we're going to go right to the questions. First, I'm going to read the instructions. Circle the correct response. Okay, that's important. Circle the correct response. So important. Why don't I highlight it? Okay. Create an evidence-based Toolman explanation for each of the responses describing why it is correct or incorrect. Evidence-based Toolman explanation, why it is correct or incorrect. Very important piece of information. That's what I'm doing. Okay. The first question, according to study 1, study 1, that's important, right? There's 3 studies. Remember, we scanned, there's 3. So, study 1, that's important. In which trial, also very important. I'm looking for a trial. This is so key right here. In which trial? Those 3 words together are telling me that I'm looking for a trial because it's asking me for which trial. Okay, so I know I'm looking for a trial. Okay, in which trial did it take 23.2 seconds? Always important. Numbers are almost always important. Did it take 23.2 seconds for the car to travel to the 75-foot mark? Okay, 75-foot mark I'm going to also underline because, again, numbers are almost always important. So study 1, I'm looking for a trial in study 1 that took 23.2 seconds to travel 75 feet. Okay? I'm going to go back to study 1. Study 1. I'm looking for in which trials did it take 23.2 seconds? 23.2 seconds to travel the 75-foot mark. Well, I don't see anything about 75-foot mark. My first assumption is that all of these numbers are about this 75-foot mark. To test that assumption, I'm going to go back to this block of text and take a look. And I'm looking for 75-foot mark. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? Oh, right here. Okay, 75-foot mark. I'm going to read around that. The student stopped the stopwatch as the car crossed the 75-foot mark. The students calculated the results of 3 separate trials and averaged the results. Okay, so the 3 trials are all about the 75-foot mark. So I can sort of ignore that part because they're all about this thing. So again, I'm looking for which trial took 23.2 seconds to travel the 75-foot mark. Okay, here's 23.2. Which trial does that connect with? Think trial 1, trial 2, or trial 3? 23.2 seconds. Looks to me like trial 2. Do you agree? You can see I can connect this with the line. They're on the line. 2, 1, yep, not so lined up. 3, yep, not so lined up. 2, yep, pretty lined up. Okay, so my answer is going to be trial 2 is the trial. All right, so I'm going back down. Trial 2. Now what am I supposed to do? Circle the correct response. Okay, so I'm going to circle that correct response. Trial 2. Oop. I need to make sure that shape. Yep, there we go. And, oh, it's trying to put the text around it. There we go. Trial 2. And now I've got to explain myself, right? Evidence-based Toolman, why it's correct or incorrect. So, in Table 1, okay, trial 2 took 23.2 seconds to travel to the 75-foot mark. Okay. Now, that's the easy one. Why wasn't it trial 1? Well, trial 1 doesn't match with 23.2 seconds, right? Right? Remember we were drawing the lines? It didn't match up with that. Trial 1 instead is 22.8 seconds, right? Okay. 22.8 seconds. Alright, so there we go. Now how about trial 3? Well, trial 3, so bad at typing, 3 doesn't match with 23.2 seconds. Trial 3 instead is 22.5 seconds. I forgot the one up here. I just noticed. Okay. Now, for D, none of these responses, well, there is a correct response. So this response cannot be correct, right? Because this is none of these responses. Well, this response is right. So if it was none of these responses, that one can't be right, but it's right, so it can't be this one. All right, so that's number 1. Try number 2 without my help, and then come back to the second video and see how you did.